Good morning, guys. How is everybody doing? Hope you guys are all well. So over to the 15-minute DMT for Bitcoin. You can see we are still selling off. We had a touchdown here to around about 8,500-ish area. So that obviously is the one of the main targets for people. So we can see whether we're going to get the bounce here, whether we're going to sucker in some more buys. I mean, we're obviously nearly $300 up off that level, or we did get to over $300 off that level. So that is a decent sized bounce. So now will we resume going up, or are we then now going to take out that level on the second passing? We will probably find out soon. So just DMT lines moving down. I expect this will probably move down to about 9. If we keep moving down now here, stay under this 8,800, it'll probably move down to about 9,000. So we'll be looking at buy around there. Something that I am noticing now though is you can see on here, this is a 15-minute Dominator. So this isn't the one that we actually use, so we wouldn't be buying now based on this signal. But obviously the 15 feeds through to the 20, feeds through to the 25, which is the one that we use. So if you have a look over at the 20, I mean, you can see the 20 starting to slope back, but we've had slope backs before. I mean, we did speak about this one actually. But yeah, so this will have to feed through to the 25 and then to the 20, which is still, well, it's not really doing much. So, and that will give us an actual signal to go buy as well, which may or may not coincide with a DMT buy, may or may not be. I mean, I'm guessing it will have to come before. DMT signals often come either before or around the same time. Dominator signals come around either before or around the same time as Dominator ones. I mean, if we see here, we've got the sell here, then the DMT sell. We see here, we've got the buy here, then the DMT buy. Obviously, we got some signals where we didn't even get it, so that clearly came before the signal that didn't actually even come in the end. This one obviously a strong move, but we did get the sell before, just before, and then the sell, a break on the next candle. You can see we got the buy before. You can see we got this one sell just before. So you can see the trend. You can see what I'm trying to explain to you guys here, that the Dominator is a good indicator for sort of getting the trend change before we then actually break through the DMT level. So that is why I'm wanting to incorporate this into my trading, my auto bot trading, because I mean there's a good few times where you see it gets a sell just before, it gets the buy just before a good rally up, gets the sell just before a good dump. Here as well, look, gets the buy just before the rally up, and you can see where DMT buys up here, but you could be buying on the Dominator literally here. So that is what I wanted to show you guys this morning regarding Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about what we're looking at longer term. I mean, are we going to take out this 8,500 and just make our way over time down to 7,000, about 7,500? It's possible. Are we going to turn around here? What I will say is that stock markets are still under a lot of pressure. They're going to open at the moment below the lows that they were trading at yesterday, and they were significantly lower than that in aftermarket futures trading, when the way actual cash markets are closed. Oil is taken a serious leg down now, down to 47. Well, it's currently around 47.60 area, and these are all very bearish. And yeah, with like the worldwide contagion that is going on, that is only gonna, I mean, it's not about to just stop. It's spreading round. It's gonna keep spreading. It's gonna keep probably getting worse. I mean, it's not like they're sorting it out in China. I mean, if they create vaccines, how much can they produce? How many people can they get them to? I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's a bit of a bearish, pessimistic view, but it just seemed based in logic, the fact that this is just going to keep infecting markets. We're going to keep going down, and markets are very overly frothy at the moment, with share buybacks, with basically debt. So interest rates, I mean, they're so low anyway. I mean, the Fed can lower them. They've not got much maneuver to though before they get to like the lower bound. And then they've got to decide if they want to go negative, which I think would be a catastrophic overall, but it wouldn't necessarily be for nominal asset prices in the interim. So yeah, so I am a bit concerned about what's going to happen there. They're obviously doing loads of pumping in loads of liquidity in the markets, and have been since basically the repo market blew out to over 10%, which you could argue is a real rate of interest. The real rate of short-term interest should be around 10%. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so reflecting that back to Bitcoin, like I have been saying well before, we did have this big sell-off in stocks. I was saying that stocks, that Bitcoin follows stocks. It's a risk asset. It follows equities. It doesn't follow gold, even though gold is rallying at the same time. I was telling you guys, look, if obviously we have this downturn in stocks, it's going to drag Bitcoin down. It isn't just going to act as a hedge, and it clearly isn't now. I mean, that narrative is out the window. That narrative has been fully disproved now. So let's try and find a new one. Let's think of a new one. But yeah, so what I am saying is I see stock markets going down. They can try and save it with some liquidity or rate cuts, but those are temporary. And also, I don't know how much you guys look into broader financial markets or Fed rate policy, but when you have the 3 rate cuts, markets will go up. When you have the fourth rate cut, it's like that's it. I mean, the Fed its rate cuts aren't helping. If it has to do another one, the fourth one is when basically the markets basically tank. The yield curve is getting very distorted again. 30-year treasuries are at all-time lows in yield, all-time highs in prices. When that fourth rate cut comes, I mean, maybe expect a bounce in stocks, maybe a little bit of a bounce in Bitcoin, that is the harbinger of doom and destruction for stock markets, and then I think that will also feed through into Bitcoin. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe we are literally looking at 20k, 3k, 14k, do you know what I mean, lower highs, and maybe potentially even lower lows. I've been looking at on a bigger time scale, but we've got to look into the halving is coming. That is the only thing in my mind that I am clinging to, is the reduction of supply into the market due to the halving. There is an interesting point as well about the halving, is that prior to the halving, Bitcoin inflation rate was higher than the stated government nominal government figures for inflation. I mean, I do understand that actual inflation is probably running a lot higher, but the actual nominal figures, so the actual government figures, so when we have the halving, that will actually take Bitcoin inflation to actually lower than what the government states inflation is. So it then will be it just adds an interesting dynamic to it. So then maybe Bitcoin is then a hedge against inflation, actually, government statistic wise. Obviously we know the actual figure, the inflation figure for Bitcoin is what it is. I mean, and then also you've got to remember that Bitcoin gets lost. Private keys get lost. Bitcoin gets sent to like Bitcoin Cash wallets, and Bitcoin does disappear. So whilst there is the limit of the amount of Bitcoin there'll be, there was some getting lost every day, and that over time that will obviously add up. But my main point is the fact, if we have a Bitcoin inflation rate that is lower than the government statistics for inflation, then what impact does that have on the market? So like I said, like the only thing I'm really clinging to at the moment is the halving, and then can that help us out? Can that help us? Right, thanks for listening, guys. Again, I apologise for rambling on. I hope you guys did find my thoughts and insights interesting. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks for listening. Remember, it's not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Be careful trading out there. Be careful trying to take longs. I've tried to take a couple of longs in my personal account and stopped. Not my personal account, my other account, and stopped out. But DMT would have kept you safe. Keep watching the DMT. Wait for the DMT buy or the Dominator 25-minute buy. That's all I needed to do, and I wouldn't have had those stop outs. But that being said, I was taking trades beforehand and made a good amount a good amount of profit long in like the 9,500 9,600 level. So it is what it is, isn't it? You take chances, you pay your money and you take your chances. So right, thanks for listening, guys. Not a financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. Speak to you guys later today.